The first exercise I like to call crescendos. It's made of a simple 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and rhythm, all played with whatever hand you use on the ride cymbal. So I'm going to be using my right hand. 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and, 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and. 3 consistent strokes. I'm not doing a molar motion. I'm trying to get them all consistent. All of them 6 or 7 inches above the drum pad. Now before you go faster, what you should try, and this is why it's called crescendos, is that for each of the rhythm partials, 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and, in each group of 3, you're going to crescendo your stick as you approach the end. In other words, like this. It's very subtle, but I'm trying to increase the stick height with every single one of those. And there's a reason for this, I'll explain in a second. But at 100, here's with no crescendo, and here's what we'll be going for. And it feels very awkward. Now the reason that we do that is because if we don't, and we get faster, let's say I put it on 167. So it looks like I'm decrescendoing a little bit because I am, but I'm actually pushing through that and trying to crescendo every single stroke. If I don't do that, if I just try to, let it bounce, it's going to get a little sloppy. This isn't very comfortable, and it's not good for endurance either. Here, I'll do 155 and double time it. 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and, 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and. It looks like I'm doing a molar stroke, and then I'm just letting the stick bounce, maybe, but I'm pushing to the end of every one. That's just going to help you develop 3 consistent strokes that don't die down as you go to the next partial. Again, we're trying not to do this. So the second exercise is just called 4s. Here's a good rule. If you want to develop doubles, practice 3s. Why? Because you're forced to overcompensate. It's kind of like if you can run 10 miles an hour, you can definitely run 6 miles an hour, right? If I can go and do 3s, it's going to be very easy for me to just play doubles. That's the logic behind this exercise. But anyway, here's the exercise. What you'll try doing is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1E and up 2. 3E and up 4. And I don't see why you couldn't do the crescendo idea here as well. For the sake of going faster. Again, you're trying to overcompensate. That way, playing 3 feels like a breeze. So I'm trying to crescendo through that. 1E and up, 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 1E and up. In my experience, if you consistently practice that, then you don't have to practice any fancy hand technique stuff. If you stick at it for long enough, your hand's gonna know what to do. It's gonna, your body will understand what you're trying to play. The next one's just a variation on the previous one. We're still gonna call it 4s. It's 4s in triplet. If it feels awkward for you to end abruptly before the next quarter note arrives, 1E and up, 1E and up, 1E and up. You can instead land the 4th partial on the quarter note by making it a triplet. So 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4. That way it's a little easier to aim. You know where to stop. And you can more easily emphasize that last one. You can crescendo into it. If you practice that a lot, it's going to feel very easy to play 3 on a hand. Now we do need to turn around the rhythm to make it the jazz rhythm, okay? Because we've been going 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and we have to make that 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. I'm not doing 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 because we're figuring out fast swing specifically. We're at the drum set application of this video, but I'm still going to be on the pad for a little bit because for every single syncopation pattern which we're going to use, it's best to just focus on the hands first because you have to line up this rhythm with the ride cymbal that's over it. Okay, first let's just do the snare drum rhythm. Let's use our left hand or whatever hand you comp with on the snare drum, that's my left hand, and just look at that rhythm. 1 and 3, 4. 1 and 3, 4. 1 and 3, 4. 1 and 3, 4. So try to line them up. So get this going first. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. That'll take some time. So now what I'm going to do is play page 38 with the left hand comping here. Okay. Establish the right hand first. 1, 2, here we go. Take that first pattern and do the standard syncopation exercise type thing that we did earlier. So I can establish the ride cymbal and the hi-hat jazz ostinato. 1, difficult variation because nobody wants to just comp on the snare and leave the kick drum hanging. Okay, so let's try this. This is another standard syncopation variation you could do. Make all the eighth notes into snare drums and make all the quarter notes into kick drums. In other words, here's the pattern now. I have it written there. Now I'm going to play all half of page 38 like I did earlier with the snare drum. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So you can also reverse it. Let's get into some really intense ones. One of my favorites is called snares in between. So let's take the same first rhythm and play it all on the bass drum. 1 and 3, 4. 1 and 3, 4. In all those spaces, put a snare drum now. 1 and